You might have been a longtime fan of South Park and watched it for years. But do you believe that you truly grasp the essence of Kenny's character? Some people believe that Kenny might have schizophrenia or another kind of personality disorder. They believe that South Park uses Kenny's character to promote mental disorders. Let's dive into the mystery of this character that has intrigued us for years. But before we do that, make sure you've clicked the like and subscribe buttons.
And see, here's one from Butters. It says, "We can't wait to see you back in school, Kenny." And it has a picture of him and you in a little airplane.
Oh, isn't that nice? You've got lots of friends, don't you, Kenny?
South Park is a super popular animated TV show that's been cracking people up since it first came out in 1997. It is created by two awesome guys named Trey Parker and Matt Stone. The show is set in a made-up place called South Park, Colorado, and it follows the adventures of four young boys named Stan, Kyle, Eric, and Kenny. Now, even though the animation style may seem simple, South Park is all about being clever and making you laugh. It's famous for its funny and sometimes controversial content. The show uses a mix of silly physical comedy, clever wordplay, and references to things we all know from popular culture to keep us entertained, and also get us thinking about different stuff. But what really makes South Park stand out is its fearlessness. It's not afraid to talk about sensitive subjects like politics, religion, sexuality, race, and what's popular in our world today. And sometimes it does it in a way that might make people go, whoa! But that's the point. It wants us to question the way things are and think about the rules society has. Now, let's talk about the characters. Each one of them brings something unique to the show. You've got Eric Cartman, who's clever but also pretty sneaky. Then there's Kenny McCormick, who always seems to have some bad luck. And of course, there's Stan and Kyle, who are just regular kids trying to figure things out. Plus, the town of South Park is full of funny and quirky people who add to the show's charm. What's really cool about South Park is that it stays up to date with what's happening in the real world. The creators are really quick at responding to current events, so the show always feels fresh and exciting. And they do it all with their unique style of humor and satire, which has made South Park a total cultural phenomenon. Kenny McCormick is the perpetually unlucky character of the show. Kenny always seems to find himself in sticky situations, making him the group's favorite victim of misfortune. If you've watched the show, you might have noticed Kenny's unique appearance. He's the one wearing an orange parka that covers his face, making it even harder to understand what he's saying. This adds an extra layer of intrigue to his character, leaving us wondering what's going on in his head. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Kenny has met his untimely demise multiple times throughout the show, only to miraculously come back to life. It's become a running joke and a trademark of South Park. This bizarre cycle of death and resurrection has left fans scratching their heads, trying to figure out how Kenny keeps cheating death. Is there some supernatural force at work here?
Rose from circumstance. One thing led to another, we were young, and we would scream together songs unsung.
As dedicated fans, many people have come up with their own theories to explain Kenny's extraordinary ability. But here's the twist. The creators of South Park, Parker and Stone, have deliberately kept it a secret. They love to keep us guessing and leave room for personal interpretation. It's like a puzzle they want us to solve on our own. By doing this, Parker and Stone encourage fans to have fun discussing and sharing their own ideas about Kenny's mental state and the reasons behind his resurrection. It's like a big playground of imagination where everyone gets to be a detective and explore the mysteries of South Park. So, some people have a theory about Kenny from South Park. They think that his constant deaths and his casual reaction to them might suggest he has a personality disorder. In the show, Kenny keeps dying in different ways, but he always comes back in the next episode like nothing happened. This relaxed attitude towards death makes us wonder about his mental state. But the thing is that South Park is a funny cartoon that likes to exaggerate and make fun of real-life situations. The creators use humor to entertain us and get us thinking, often blurring the line between what's real and what's silly. So Kenny's repeated deaths and his nonchalant behavior should mostly be seen as funny tools to make us laugh, rather than a real personality disorder. Kenny's character is intentionally kept simple, with not much talking and overshadowed actions. This makes it hard to really analyze his mental state accurately. Plus, South Park is a comedy show, not a serious exploration of mental health problems. Even though Kenny's actions may resemble traits linked to personality disorders, like not caring about personal safety or being impulsive, we should be careful with these observations and remember that the show is fictional and meant to be funny.
Very well, Kenny. Let us batter! Oh, Kenny, knock it off!
Now, here is another theory some people have about Kenny. that his behavior matches symptoms of schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a complex mental disorder that affects how people think, feel, and perceive things. People with schizophrenia may have hallucinations, which means seeing or hearing things that aren't really there, and delusions, which are false beliefs. They can also struggle with distinguishing what's real and what's not. In the show, Kenny acts like he's having conversations with invisible beings by mumbling to himself. This behavior could be seen as similar to hallucinations or delusions, suggesting a break from reality. Kenny's limited communication and occasional unpredictable actions could also be interpreted as symptoms of schizophrenia, but it's important to be careful when making these interpretations. We should consider the overall context of South Park and its satirical nature. The show uses its characters and storylines to comment on social and political issues, often using shocking and dark humor to get its point across. The exaggerated and sometimes outrageous situations the characters face are meant to provoke strong reactions and challenge societal norms. Kenny's frequent deaths and how casually they are treated are part of this, creating a sense of absurdity and pushing the boundaries of what's considered acceptable in comedy. While it's interesting to explore the psychological aspects of Kenny's character, we need to remember that South Park is a work of fiction meant to entertain and make us think. It's not meant to provide accurate portrayals of mental health conditions or be a guide for understanding them. Many people believe that South Park is promoting mental disorders through Kenny, but that's not true. Kenny's character isn't used to endorse or trivialize mental health conditions. Instead, South Park uses Kenny's unfortunate circumstances, like his constant deaths and his background, to comment on society and make us laugh. In South Park, Kenny's constant deaths are not meant to show a mental problem. Instead, they're used to make fun of how society treats life and death. The creators of the show, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, use extreme situations to make us think and question the way we see life and death. By repeatedly killing Kenny, the show draws attention to how death is often shown in a careless and uncaring way in popular culture. Kenny's background, where he comes from a poor family and faces many challenges, is not meant to say that he has a mental disorder. Instead, it's used to talk about social inequality and the difficulties faced by people who don't have a lot of money. The show uses Kenny's situation to bring attention to problems like the gap between the rich and the poor, the lack of opportunities for some people, and the struggles faced by those who are not treated fairly. By making fun of these things, South Park wants to show us the unfairness that exists in society.
Oh, I feel better already. Oh, cool. What say you and me go to TGI Fridays? Woohoo!
Sometimes South Park talks about mental health directly, but it does it in a funny and sensitive way. The show has episodes that deal with topics like feeling sad for a long time, being very worried, or being addicted to something. It uses these episodes to challenge the negative ideas that society sometimes has about mental health. The goal is not to make mental disorders seem normal, but to get people talking openly about mental health and to break down the misunderstandings and barriers that exist. It's important to remember that South Park is a show that uses satire. When we look at how Kenny or any other character is shown, we need to understand that the show uses humor and exaggeration to make us think. Trey Parker and Matt Stone want to challenge the way things are and make us question the world around us. South Park doesn't always handle sensitive topics perfectly, but its main purpose is not to promote mental disorders or make light of mental health problems. The show uses satire and humor to make us think about the problems in our society and have important conversations. So now, let's hear your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for watching.